Okay, let me. I will.
Hi, Laura. I'm Nina. I'll be your social worker today. We spoke on the phone. Um, Thank you for meeting with me. I also want you to let you know that this is a safe space for you to talk and share your feelings and thoughts. And I want you to know that everything that you say is confidential and will not be shared without your permission. But I do also want to let you know that with confidentiality, there are exceptions. So if you are a threat to yourself or others, I will have to inform, authorities if needed be. I also wanted to let you know that I will be taking notes throughout the session. So if I look down occasionally, that's because I am taking notes and I'm also still listening. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, that sounds good.
Mhm. Okay, so let's first start off with what are you here for today?
Oh yeah, I'm kind of nervous. I don't really like to talk to new people, but yeah, I'm just kind of having some issues with my parents. Like, I don't know, it's just really hard. Don't have a great relationship, and the holidays are coming up, and I just feel like I'm going to be around them, and it's just like it gives me a lot of anxiety. I mean, they're not abusive or anything, and I had a fine childhood, but we just like don't always agree on things, and sometimes we get into like these yelling matches, and I just don't understand why like communication is so hard with them, and I don't know, I get really anxious, and then I like shut down, and so I don't know, I just need some help with like, I don't know, maybe coping, or how do I talk to my parents without yelling at them? I don't know.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that because you don't have a great relationship with your parents as of right now, like you're very you have anxiety, you have some feelings of anxiety with seeing them throughout the holidays. So can you tell me what kinds of things about meeting with them makes you anxious?
I mean, a lot of things. I mean, we have like our family traditions. Like we do Secret Santa every year, and that's wonderful. But yeah, I guess I just don't really feel like they know me very well. Like we don't really talk through, like, I mean, I live kind of far away from them, and so we don't really talk. And when we do talk, it's like very like small talk. And we have like just a lot of differing like opinions, like political opinions. And I just, I don't know. I mean, it could be totally my fault, but I just like don't really have patience for them when they like start talking about like Trump and everything. They really get all political size, whatever that word is. And so I just like I get really anxious when I go to see them because I'm just not sure how like the conversation is going. And then I don't have good boundaries with them. Like, I don't know, if they ask me to do something that I don't want to do, I just do it because I don't want to like upset them, or I feel like I'm just walking on eggshells around them. And but we're not like, they're not great communicators, so they don't really tell me how they feel. And so it's just really challenging to, I feel like if I say, like, if I'm my true and authentic self with them, that I'm like gonna hurt them. I don't know, because like we're so vastly different in all of our opinions. Does that make sense? I don't know. I don't know if
Yeah.
that answered your question.
Well, I understand, and what I'm hearing you say is that you and your parents have vast differently views on many things, and that often causes you to butt heads, and you feel
Yeah.
like you're walking on eggshells, that you're not able to, truly like voice your true opinions when you need to be around
Yeah.
them. That's why you feel anxious when being meeting up with them, especially during the holidays. So can I ask,
Yeah.
how have you managed to cope, you know, with like the different opinions and like the arguments that you have with them?
I just avoid them. Like I
Avoid.
just don't, yeah, I just don't talk about it when I'm there. And I like stick to movies or like real small talk, like movies, the weather, what like life events that are happening in my siblings' lives, because my siblings like have families and kids and stuff, and so just kind of stick with that. And it does help that I don't like live near them, so it's you know I think that helps. And then, but yeah, I just avoid it, which, but I'm feeling like when I avoid it, I just feel like extra lonely around the holidays because then it's like I would like to like talk about real things and my opinions, but I just don't know how to do it, I guess, without causing like a big fight.
Okay. So I can definitely see, like, from what you're telling me, like your coping skills when dealing with them is to avoid the conflict, to
Yeah.
really like deflect from the actual I guess you could say like the tension that's building around you when you do talk to them. So I think I want to ask, like, because you have that difficult relationship with your parents as of right now, are there any people specifically in your family that you do have a good, I guess, good relationship, good support system where you feel like you're able to, how you said, like, be your, true authentic self with?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my oldest and my youngest sister, I have lots of sisters, but those two are probably the two that I can feel like the safest with. And one of them, my youngest sister lives near my parents, so she sees them more often. So she's a really good buffer for me and a good support system. Um, she just knows like how hard it can be. Um, but, and so yeah, so I do definitely. And my grandma, like I lived with my grandma for a long time because my parents and I just growing up, like, man, we would just get into these screaming matches. And so it came to the point where like I had to move out and I moved out in with my maternal grandmother, and she just kind of finished raising me when I was in high school. And so yeah, I definitely have a few strong relationships that I feel like are really supportive and safe for me. So I'm grateful for that. It helped create like a buffer with my parents for sure.
Okay, that's good to hear that you do have those support systems, when you do feel like you're butting heads with your parents, or like how you said, like a buffer between them, so like you don't have that much tension around your family,
Yeah,
which is good.
definitely.
Um, I think I'm going to talk about like how you avoid the the tough topics with your parents, like because you feel like you're walking around like on eggshells with them. So with the avoiding and you only doing those small talk, how are you? Can you think of ways like how maybe you're able to really like talk to them to maybe de-escalate the
Hmm.
conversation so it doesn't get so like like you're a screaming match with them?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's so much the topic as like the delivery, like because we do have such different views, I like opposite ends of the spectrum. I think if I just could keep like control of my emotions better, maybe, but and like not sound. Sometimes I get really sarcastic, or my tone can be really hurtful, and that like I know really triggers my dad, especially because he feels like I'm being disrespectful. But also, I'm an adult, and so it's it's such a fine balance because I want to be respectful of him and everything, but I also, dad, I'm 30, like I'm not 15 anymore. And so yeah, I'm but it's just like I don't know why it always has to be me that has to like be the buffer, so that's something that I get really frustrated with. um so I found just like limiting my time with them has been really good. Like if I say, like, especially like we do family things on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve and like New Year's. So if I just like don't stay the whole day, but I like go for like, I don't know, half a day or like a couple hours, that is helpful in like even just our conversation, because then we won't be like, we'll have time to like break up the conversation a little bit, so then I can be more respectful. Um, and I know there's like a lot of like just pain there for all of us. Like we just, when I was a kid, we just had really, I was, they always say I was the toughest one to raise. So yeah.
Okay. So what I'm hearing, it's not about the topic, but it's more about the delivery and the tone that you're giving each other when talking.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
it's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. I'd agree.
So I know you mentioned like some of the things that you're doing is like trying to, I guess, self-regulate your emotions and your tone and be more aware with that. So like, how have you been managing that so far?
Well, honestly, I'm not in a great space right now. Like normally I'm really good because I take care of myself and I live on my own. So I can like, and I do a lot of like my own therapeutic work, which is why I'm here. I just need a little extra support this year because I just feel like I'm really stressed at work. And I'm like, I'm in a master's program. And so I'm just very like, I don't feel regulated. And so, my normal like routine would be to like go for a run, like be very consistent and like exercise and then like making sure that I'm eating really well. And then like limiting coffee because I get really anxious and like caffeine can really, or at least coffee can really like affect my how anxious I feel, and then also just like kind of watching my alcohol intake, which I do anyway. But I think just I'm so stressed out right now that the thought of going home and like seeing my parents just like really my anxiety just like increases to the point where it's just really hard to even think about. Like I don't want to go because it just feels too hard. So yes, normally I am really great at regulating my emotions just by like journaling and reflecting and keeping like a consistent exercise routine or regime. But I just haven't been lately because I'm so tired from school and I have so many things on my plate right now. So I was hoping to maybe get some strategies because I don't know what to do.
For sure, like I can definitely sense that you're very stressed, that the overwhelming factor of, your life outside of your family with school or even work is definitely taking a toll on you. So you definitely haven't had time to really, in a sense, regulate yourself. So that also brings up more anxiety with having to see your families, considering that you already don't have a good relationship with them as is. Um,
Yeah.
so I wanted to say, like, what do you think are some best strategies that you think personally would be best for you to like get yourself back on track?
Oh man. Well, I mean, honestly, journaling really does help. I like it. I think that it helps me to get not all of, but most of my thoughts that are like swirling up here and down on paper, so I can kind of look at it and reflect, and it kind of helps me feel like, okay, I know what I can say, or I don't know, I just feel like more regulated, I guess is the word to use what you said. That's a very good word to use. Um, and then I don't know, maybe like limiting my caffeine intake because I I mean, I just am so tired that I like sit down to do homework and I feel like I can't stay awake. So I drink more caffeine to like help me stay awake, but it also has like been affecting my sleep. And so then I'm like staying up super late and then I just feel dysregulated all over again. So maybe just watching my caffeine intake, like maybe cutting it down to only like 1 cup of coffee a day or something. And like in the morning, not at 8 p.m. Um, and then maybe running because I love to run. I just haven't taken the time for it because it just feels too hard right now.
Mm. I understand, life can get very stressful and like obviously you have a lot going on, but you do have like, strategies that you have used that's worked for you in the past, which is good. So like you do understand how, like you do have those resources to help you when you do feel stressed to get you back on track. So I think I want to ask you like, from talking right now about the strategies, what have you learned that could, help you move forward with those strategies and putting them in place so that you do get yourself back on track?
I think making a schedule, like, and then like a realistic schedule, not a rigid, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I can be really hard on myself and like have this really high standard of myself, but maybe just do like maybe not going for a run, but maybe every day going for a walk, like for maybe a 10 minutes and just starting there and then seeing if that helps. Because it does help. I like to walk and it's not that hard to go for a 10-minute walk. It feels easier. And so maybe just like planning my days. Because right now I just run around like a chicken with my head cut off because I feel like I have too many things going on. Um, and then maybe like, I don't know, maybe like I'm pretty like, I'm a pretty solo person. Like I like to be alone and like, and I am in a season where like I have to be alone because I have so many things that I'm doing all the time. My time is really limited socially. And so, but maybe like, I don't know, maybe like calling my best friend and just like maybe talking with her about like, hey, I'm really kind of anxious about, just kind of talking about with her about my upcoming trip for the holidays. She's a really good support for me and helps me feel regulated. So I could do those two things, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, like you have a plan of like, how to move forward with the strategies of, whether journaling or going for walks. So definitely, making those plans, making a realistic schedule for yourself is a good thing. So, you understand like what you really do have time for and like what you can put time aside for. And I also
Yeah.
noticed that you also talked about your best friend and how like you can talk to her about your upcoming trip and like in a sense vent to her. So with
Yeah.
like using your best friend, like that connection that you have, um how do you think that your best friend will be able to support you throughout like your trip, or like through your anxious emotions about seeing your parents?
Well, she lives near them, so that's always fun. So I was thinking maybe I could just stay with her instead of staying with my parents. And then that's like I'm able to leave, whenever I feel like triggered, I guess is that a word? Triggered, I guess. Um, so since she lives like she literally lives like down the road from them, so it that would be kind of nice, I think. Just to be able to have kind of the ability to leave, like physically leave, which I think would help my anxiety a lot. Because sometimes when I'm back there, I just feel like I'm trapped again, and I'm like, oh, I want to go home. Like it just, yeah. So I think that could be helpful. Um, and then maybe just setting clearer boundaries with my parents too. Like, oh, I only have this much time to spend with you, and not feeling guilty about it because sometimes I can feel guilty about it. But yeah, maybe I could try those.
Okay, that's good. So what I hear is that because your best friend does live near them, you do have that support system to help you, I guess, in a sense, like be away from home while you're at home, so that you still have the
Yeah.
opportunity to feel comfortable being around your family, not so anxious now that you um, have her.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm. So I think also one of the things, I think using your best friend as that support system, how do you think like we can able to build on where we are now, like with now that you have that sort of a go-to support system with your best friend, and now that you have her as a place to stay, being anxious with your family, to holidays, like how can we build
Um,
on to from where we are, like, to help you better your relationship with your parents?
well, I honestly thought about not going this year, just like maybe taking a little space, doing something a little bit different. And that would be really disappointing, I think, to my family. Um, but I feel like it might be really good for me and like my needs and like my health. Um, just to take like a little more space. And then, but if I do go, because I don't want to disappoint them, um, I don't know, maybe like meeting regularly to talk about like, I don't know, some attachment issues and like kind of maybe diving deep into like the hurt that I feel from my parents, which I know kind of is the underlying like issue with our conversations, because that's probably why I get angry and I'm disrespectful, because I feel a little bit hurt. Well, there's like deep wounds there for me from them, from my childhood. So maybe that doing a little bit of that like inner child work would maybe help. But it just kind of scares me because that who knows what that will uncover.
Okay, yeah, I definitely see that like you're conflicted about wanting to have your needs met first versus your parents. But I think a goal that we can
Yeah.
definitely work on is, creating that time to give that space. so that there can be more opportunities for you to feel better about being around them more often. And I think one of the things that we can also work on next session is how you're able to use better, I guess, coping skills in a sense when talking to your parents when you are around them, but also to the goal to create that space so that way that your needs are met so that you can be in a healthy space to be able to talk to them and so that it doesn't come to a point where you guys butt heads.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think even just talking about it now is really helpful because it's helping me realize, oh, that's probably why I get so upset when I miss them.
And I think also the good thing is that even if you do go to visit them, that you have your best friend with you as a support, so you do give that space between each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think staying with her is a really good option. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And our time is running out, but for next session, we can definitely talk more about this and work more on the goals that we set of, putting your needs first and giving that space with your family to be able to talk to them. And even if you're open up to it, we can do a little role playing using better coping skills and talking, to talk to your parents about.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yes, that's great. Thank you, Nina.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to discuss today?
I don't think so. I'll see you next time, I guess.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thanks.